I'm professional all of the time. Hello, wonderful Yoularp watchers, and welcome back to... No, it's not.
No,
Super
it's
Mega
not.
Happy Ton Time D&D stream.
Autopilot fail.
I know, right? We're going to do a new video segment because lots of people have been asking for it in the comments on our weekly D&D Curse of Strahd stream. And we wanted to look at whether Curse of Strahd is a good campaign setting to start with, depending on your experience as a DM or as a player, and what you can expect to get out of it. So let's go for it. Both of us have run it. It makes sense for both of us to introduce ourselves. So my name's Adam. I run a Curse of Strahd game for Yoularp. We try and do once a week. I'm a LARPer and a bit of a geek.
My name is Matt.
No, it's not. It's Matt.
Really?
Really?
All right, fine. My name is Matt. I'm popularly known as Matt to distinguish myself from the other Matt. Is that good? Does that work for you? Fine. Basically, everything that Adam said about himself is also true of me, apart from the fact that I don't run Yoularp. Adam does. I run an offline campaign of Curse of Strahd, where I privately torture my players instead of over the internet.
So, for those of you who don't know, Curse of Strahd is a D&D supplement for 5th edition. It's existed for a while. Way back in 2nd edition, they had Castle Ravenloft, and there's been lots of books about it, Strahd, and a couple of them. They've kind of built a whole world around it for a while, but I don't want to go into that too much in this. So the idea behind this video is, if you're kind of sitting on the fence or looking for a campaign setting to run, it's just going to give you the lowdown on what to expect on Curse of Strahd and whether or not it's going to be a good idea for you. Yep. If it isn't for everybody, definitely not.
And once we finish this video, then we're going to go on to make a series of videos about the different parts of Curse of Strahd and our experiences of running it, just to kind of give over how we found it and any kind of hints and tips that we feel the need to share unprompted with the internet.
There's quite a lot of... I look at them as like little zones within Curse of Strahd, and that's how the book kind of breaks them down as well.
Yeah, chapter by chapter.
But chapters, yeah. And sometimes you're looking at it and you just can't see how it all fits together, and it feels a bit sporadic. So we'll do some videos on that as well. But for the first video, should you play Curse of Strahd?
And why?
I think it is yes. Whoever you are. Do you hate horror? Yes. Do you love horror? Yes. Do you know what horror is at all? Then yes, you should play it.
For some strange reason, 2 people who are running Curse of Strahd games and streaming internet videos about Curse of Strahd think that Curse of Strahd is a good campaign.
It is. So let us begin with the positives. We made a little list here, so don't mind if I look down. Okay. This is one of the most important ones for me. So when I first looked at 5th edition, I'd come from playing Pathfinder for a very long time, and I knew the Pathfinder world pretty well. I knew all the gods well. I'd spent a lot of time reading the background behind different worlds and planes and how it does it. And in 5th edition, it was all different. And I was pretty confused for a while. And I kind of read the Player's Handbook, I read the Dungeons Master's Guide, and it didn't... I still, if you've watched the stream, get very confused between the 2 worlds, between 5e and Pathfinder. And it hurts me a lot to do it, and it breaks the mood a bit. But with Curse of Strahd, pretty much everything you need is in here, because it's its own little world. It's its own demi-plane of horror and nastiness.
Yeah, so all the setting information is right there in that one book. And you don't have to kind of really break the mood or the campaign flow or the narrative flow to go off and consult kind of additional supplements when players ask that sort of left field question that players tend to ask.
And although it's open world, which we'll come to in a little bit, the players are trapped here. So
they have no choice but to play this campaign. Yeah. Once the game starts, they're not going off somewhere else.
But you can... It means that in some campaigns, when the players get a bit higher up, the amount of prep that you've got to do as the DM is ginormous, because the players can do 10 gazillion different things. But in Curse of Strahd, the players have still got that choice, but you've got a much smaller net to throw over everything that they could do.
Yeah, and also 9 gazillion of those things will also end badly. So, I mean, that cuts down on the options right there.
Brilliant. So one of my favourite things in Curse of Strahd is Strahd himself. So you get some of the D&D games and supplements where you see the villain on the front page and you look at them and then you don't meet them, you only meet their minions until the final fight.
The one final encounter, the necromancer or whatever shows up, you kill him and that's it. And you're like, but this entire module was called Tomb of the Necromancer. It's been 7 chapters and we see him on 1 page.
Whereas in Curse of Strahd, he turns up whenever you really like him to be honest. He's fun to kind of just appear and be annoying and then disappear again.
And because of the way it's set up, Strahd can really build a relationship with your PCs. He's not exactly an invulnerable villain, but if you play him right, then he can just show up at really awkward points.
Yeah.
And just make a nuisance of himself. And by the end of it, the players will know all about Strahd, know what he looks like, know what his personality is like, and they will really want to kill him.
Yeah, and it makes it more personal rather than I am stopping this person because of what has happened to other people or characters from my background or whatever. It is, I'm going to stop you because you have fucked with me
so many times.
Now I'm going to end you, you dick.
Yeah.
And that works. And then the spin side of that, as the DM, he's just a wonderful character to be the DM for, because he's so bad. He's just...
You've got to play it carefully. Like, you need to have the balance right.
For sure. We'll do a video about that, like how to be Strahd.
I'm sorry, I'll not give all the secrets away at once then.
And the last big positive we've got on our list is the atmosphere the book manages to kind of...
Just the way it's all written, it's this very different world that people who play D&D won't quite be used to, and everything just feels kind of horrible, but in a sort of very atmospheric way rather than an out-and-out depressing way.
Yeah.
It's just this land of mist-shrouded forests and glens with the occasional wolf howl in the distance while someone investigates with a candelabra.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone locking their windows and doors and hiding inside and ignoring the screams that come from the street and eating delicious pasties and not questioning where they come from.
I mean, that's possibly just our player group, you know?
Yeah. And although it is a pre-made book, because the world is so open, it isn't, you've got to go this step, this step, this step. It encourages not to kind of play it like that. And after at the start, it's very linear. There's like one way in. And then after that, the game really opens up, which is kind of when I think Curse of Strahd properly begins.
Yeah, the sort of the first couple of bits to get the players into the Barovia as a demi-realm and kind of the events start rolling, it's more or less just prequel, really.
Yeah, for sure. There's not much you can do about it. But it is not perfect by any means. There are some dodgy areas.
There are some drawbacks.
It's a game with an open world, but punishes players brutally if they explore the wrong area at the wrong time.
Yeah.
And it is incredibly easy to have your party wiped out.
Yeah, I mean, when the players are, level 3, level 4, they literally walk past a windmill that has a bunch of hags in it,
which will just wreck any party.
It will just eat their faces if they just go, oh, there's a windmill, let's merrily saunter in there to see what's going on. That's going to be really challenging. So it's it is quite challenging to kind of find the right balance between giving the players those warning flags, and you at the same time you have to avoid making it feel to the players like you're just steering where they're going. Because the whole advantage of Barovia is you have this land and the players can just merrily saunter wherever they want, although it won't be merrily because Barovia is sad and awful as a place.
And it's something Dungeons and Dragons doesn't do very well, which is not going all in. So it's like poker, going all in on every hand. A lot of D&D games are like that. It's either we win this fight or everyone's dead. And you've got to be able to have the party lose a fight and run away with the tails behind their legs, but not be dead. And there are ways around that, which we'll talk about in the other videos for sure. But it's a real balancing act as a DM to kind of encourage people to explore and then also punish them when they do explore as well, but also reward them with information or whatever, because otherwise they just put on the blinkers and just run through the whole game.
Yeah.
And that's really easy to happen. And they just ignore stuff. Because, oh, when we investigated this, it was really bad. Oh, we investigated this, it was really bad. So let's not investigate anything.
Yeah, and you want them to feel like they can explore. I mean, they've got this whole world laid out in front of them. You want them to feel that they can go places and just see what's going on. So you do have to find that knife edge between making sure the players know that there are consequences in the world and also empowering the players to go out and find things to do.
But we put that down as a negative because it is tricky. And another negative, and this isn't just the fault of the book, but just tabletop in general. Yeah, and that is horror as a DM is hard to get right. As are horror films, I'm sure we've all sat there and watched horrendous horror films where you're laughing more than you are scared. And horror, to get it exactly right, to have someone shriek in fear but then giggle as well is always my kind of goal. I like a jump scare from time to time.
Do you?
I do occasionally.
Wow.
But that's not really horror, that's just me.
That's a cheap shot is what that is.
Yeah, but I enjoy it.
The absolute key to that, in my opinion, is making sure you have the buy-in from the players.
Yeah.
And the expectation is there about what kind of game you're playing and what you expect from a group of player characters, because they need to know that you want them to feel afraid, uncertain, because with D&D there is a tendency to play these great big shiny heroes, and that's great, and I adore that as a concept, but when you're playing a kind of a gothic horror themed game, the players need to know that ahead of time so they can build the right kind of character and react in the right way as the game is developing.
But that comes in part from understanding the book as well, to how to deal with characters who are like that. So you want to have the character who wants to try and fix everything, but then you've also got to know how to deal with it and to push them along, and then to give them the victories and their failures is a massive part of it. And the last negative we've got, and this is a big one.
It is a big one. It's not always a feel-good game. There's not always a win, particularly not with some DMs. There's not always a win, there's not always an upside. Sometimes things are bleak and terrible, and the players need to know to expect that.
Yeah, it's not like My Little Pony, the role-play game, where everything's going to get... You don't play that?
No.
Oh, okay.
You've never invited me to play that. No judgment.
Where everything's rosy and you know the good guys are going to win and the bad guys are going to get stopped. Here, I like to have my victories always be bittersweet here. You're in a realm of dread. There's bad stuff here. There's big, overwhelming, dark powers messing with the players, the locals. even with Strahd himself. So yes, it can be nice to give a win to the players, but also then later on they find out what they lost in that win.
Your voice got all spooky then, you realise. But it doesn't mean that players should consistently lose.
Sorry.
Sometimes it's vital to have those upsides, have those unmitigated victories, because you need the points of light in the darkness, otherwise there is no contrast, and the players start thinking, why are we bothering?
Yeah. So, congratulations if you've made it to the end of the video, well done.
We almost didn't.
No, it's time for our weekly game of D&D now. We're going to play Curse of Strahd in a minute.
I'm going to play, you're going to punish.
Yeah, I'm going to try and kill the players.
Yeah.
So, hopefully this has given you an idea if Curse of Strahd is the game for you to run. I think it is.
I think it is.
Yeah, no matter, even if you don't like horror, I think it definitely is.
We are not biased.
No, not at all. So the plan now is we're going to try and knock out probably about a couple of videos a month.
I don't think you should commit us to a time frame.
We're going to try and do some videos.
As and when we are both free.
Breaking down the different areas, the different aspects of the game, how to approach certain tricky situations, and hopefully put them in a logical order.
Yes, let's say yes. But we do want to hear from you about the kind of things that you want to know. Any kind of questions that you have about the game in general or about us. We will happily talk about ourselves over the internet. That can't go wrong. So send us your questions.
Yep.
Facebook?
Yeah, Yoularp.com on Facebook. Or just Yoularp, I think.
Yoularp on Facebook. Send us questions and we will do a series of videos.
Perfect, sounds good. Lovely, cheers for watching.
See you later. Would you stop?
This is for when I edit it back, I'll be able to see me wave my arms and hit you in the face.
Do we need to wave our arms again? If you use that, I will kill you. More arms?
Yeah.
Fine, wave your arms again and then go back into it. That's not going on the video.
Very professional. Were we very professional, Sandy?